Hi everyone, today we're talking about SQL. This is going to be the first video in my SQL series. When we talk about SQL, we have to understand that a lot of people jump right to examples, and I think that's a mistake. I think the SQL syntax diagrams are easier to understand, especially for newer developers who haven't been mentored in SQL. I really believe that the syntax diagrams are easier to understand. You really just have to take a step back and understand what the symbols mean. Some people look at these symbols and they get kind of scared by them, or they don't really understand what they mean. But I think that once you actually step back and you understand the symbols, it makes it so much easier to write SQL. And I really regret when I first started writing SQL not just taking the time to step back and understand these diagrams. I remember thinking that these even looked kind of mythical, or these weren't useful, and I was questioning, why would Microsoft have these SQL or have these syntax diagrams here? That doesn't make sense. Just give me some examples. And now I realize that I was mistaken. Microsoft has it right. By putting these syntax diagrams here, they make your life a lot easier. So let's kind of get started here. You'll see that this is the thing, the highlighted section here is the syntax diagram for SQL Server. You'll see up here there's a link that you can click and open, and you'll see this in the right hand side here, that will let you map those mythical symbols to something that makes sense in your mind. So for example, you'll see that this square bracket here, you'll look at that and you're like, what does that square bracket mean? Well, you can just map it here and say, hey, the square brackets are optional syntax items and they don't want you to type the brackets. That makes sense. You can see this query expression here. What does this mean? Well, query expression's right here, so that logically means that it's going to map to this, and then you can just use that mapping on this right hand side to understand that specific label. And obviously, right, the label here, you can kind of see that this is a label. And that's really what the syntax diagrams allow you to do. And I'd like to kind of just make it clear here that you have some remarks where they'll actually go into the subsets of statements, and from that you can actually see what else you can do. And the reason it's not one big syntax diagram is just because it'd be hard to digest that much stuff. And I think really these syntax diagrams are super useful, and I think they're actually easier than looking at examples once you step back from the problem and actually just look at the symbols. And I think a lot of times when we're learning a new technology, I think sometimes we actually look at examples too much, and we should really be looking at the syntax diagrams. I kind of first came across syntax diagrams in compilers, specifically the Backus-Naur form, and this actually might be Backus-Naur form. You could do a cursory Google search to find that out, but this just reminds me of it. Just kind of an interesting tidbit there. So yeah, I think in summary, just don't be afraid to look at these syntax diagrams, and they really will help you write SQL. They'll help you understand things a little bit better than just writing examples over and over and over again.